Should we, or should we not, bring this meeting into session? Well, it's not like it won't start. This is a weekly thing, so good luck. For today's meeting, I'll be talking about 6 types of feedback. This is from the account at Anya Writes, credited in the description for the Instagram listeners. So, before I start, I will be talking about these different types of feedback, what to focus on, and what to ignore. 1. The opinion. 2. The misdiagnosis. 3. The bad remedy. 4. The right cure. 5. The divination. And 6. The false alarm. So, let's just get right into it with 1. The opinion. The opinion is completely subjective feedback. Its purpose is to gauge what is and isn't working for the readers on a personal level. Isolated opinions offer some insight, but in general, you want to pay attention to the patterns that emerge from multiple readers' opinions. Focus on doubling down on the things your readers tend to like, and consider dialing back on the things they don't like. Ignore suggestions for phrasing, story elements, or plot directions that are purely a matter of taste and go counter to your vision. 2. The misdiagnosis. The misdiagnosis is feedback where the reader has noticed something wrong in your writing, but they struggle to identify the issue, so they misdiagnose the problem. It's tempting to think that this is a false alarm, which is number 6, but this type of feedback is actually very common and well-intentioned, so make sure to look out for it. Focus on reverse engineering the true problem by closely reading the feedback in the passage it applies to. After identifying the real issue, work on a solution. Ignore the original diagnosis and any suggestions that are now irrelevant. 3. The bad remedy. The bad remedy gets one step further than the misdiagnosis. Here, the reader correctly identifies the problem, but the solution they provide either doesn't solve the issue or overly subjective. Is overly subjective. Explained in number 1, or has a negative ripple effect that the reader didn't expect. Focus on determining the new solution that works for your story and style. Ignore any solutions that aren't right for your story. 4. The right cure. The right cure is the best kind of feedback because it not only properly diagnoses the problem in your story, but also provides an effective solution. This feedback is easy to identify, but sometimes the accuracy of the feedback or the tone of its delivery puts us on the defensive. We might try to write it off as an opinion or false alarm, but it's important to accept the right cure when it's offered. Focus on following the feedback. You can still tweak or build upon the solution if better ideas come to you. Just make sure you're still solving the problem. Ignore any temptation to dismiss the feedback out of pride or a feeling of being wrong due to an uncouth delivery. 5. The divination. The divination is any feedback that provides the right solution to a problem, even when the reader misdiagnoses or doesn't try to diagnose the problem itself. This often arises when the reader critiques mostly by feel, and while they may struggle to articulate why something is wrong, they feel something is wrong and are able to identify an effective solution. This type of feedback can often look like an opinion since it lacks justification, but it's always worth considering. Focus on identifying whether their suggestion improves the story, and if it does, implement it. Ignore the feedback if your compliment is just an opinion that doesn't align with your vision of the story. Lastly, 6. The false alarm. The false alarm is feedback that tries to solve a problem that isn't there. This feedback generally comes from a reader who's distracted, reading too quickly, or trying too hard to find things to criticize, which can occasionally happen in formal critique settings like workshops, where some feel pressure to always contribute. Note, however, This type of feedback is rare. What you think is a false alarm is most often to not a misdiagnosis, a bad remedy, or even a poorly delivered right cure. Focus on identifying whether the feedback is actually a false alarm or something legitimate. Ignore the feedback, but only if you're absolutely confident it's a false alarm. If you find yourself receiving a lot of false alarms, reflect on whether you're dismissing too much feedback, and if you aren't, consider looping in some new readers. And that is everything I have for the 6 types of feedback. Make sure to at least consider everything before you let your pride take over and dismiss every bit of feedback that you receive. I've encountered a lot of proud people in my days, despite only being 15. Well, 16 now. 15 when I wrote this. And if anything, they are more ignorant than proud. Once before, a guy even cussed me out just because I told him that he needs to add more detail in his writing and try to stop repeating himself. He was probably in his 30s and he cussed out a teenage girl. Can you believe it? Actually, I bet some of you can. People can be real jerks sometimes. Anyways, check out the Creative Writing Club Discord, linked in description or in my bio for the Instagram listeners. The Creative Writing Club Instagram is at creativewriting_club. My personal Instagram is at dark_night_wolves. Let's bring this meeting to an end.